Welcome back to PSC's Tech Bytes. Today I want to introduce you to the Security Trim Control, which is part of the family of PnP React reusable controls. The Security Trim Controls is really useful whenever you want to hide or show content based on the current user's security context. And it works almost like the control that we were used to use in SharePoint Classic to define some area of a page based on the current user security context. The security trim controls can be configured defining the level, meaning if you want to check permissions at the site level or at the list or library level or stuff like that. You can configure the permission you're looking for, and if the permission will be available for the currently connected user, the content will be visible. If not, you can eventually show the no permission control content to show an alternative content to the end user. As well as if you configure a level which will target, for example, a specific site or list or library, you can specify through some dedicated properties what the URL of the site is or what the site, list or library are whenever you want to filter based on them. So, like always, let me move to the demo environment and let me show you how to use this control in action. This is the official documentation page about the Security Trim Control. Here you can see how to use it, and you can dig into all of the properties and attributes that you can configure. For the sake of making this demo, I created a site collection in which I configured myself as the owner and another hypothetical user called John Doe as a member of this site. So the owner will be able to manage the whole site, while the member will just be able to read and manage data, but will not be a full manager of the whole website. So here I have a web part which is rendered for myself, and as you can see here I have content that is rendered for people who can manage web, who have the manage web permission, and I can also see content that is targeting people with the view pages permission. On the contrary, if I will switch to the John Doe account, I can see that in this scenario I only see the content for people who can have the view pages permission, but I don't see the manage web targeted content because John Doe is not the owner of the site. How did I do that? Well, this is the TSX component rendering the React component of my web part. And specifically, I have in the properties a property called context of type web part context, which will represent the context of my web part. So that when I'm rendering the React component, I can say, okay, here I want to use the security trim control that I have to import from the PnP SPFx control React. Here you can see the import syntax. And I also imported the SP permission type from @Microsoft SP page context, so that I can say, for example, that I have one security trim control which will render content only for people in the current web with the permission of manage web permission. And this will be the message that I will show for people who are in the category of managers for my web. Then I have another security trim control, which will still rely on the current web and will allow to show the content to people with the view pages permission. And here you can see, if you click on the dot, we have plenty of options to configure the SP permissions based on all of the permissions that we have in SharePoint and SharePoint Online. Moreover, if we want to make it even better, we can say that the security trim control, which is rendering content for people with managed web, rather than just not showing anything to people which are not entitled, will show a no permission control, which is a JSX.element type that I just created, in which I will say you can't see this content, just for the sake of making an example. So basically, if you are a user with the managed web permission, you will see the default content. So this content will be rendered for people with. Otherwise, you will see the no permission control, so you will see you can't see this content. And we could do eventually the same for the other samples. So let me save the TSX component and let me refresh the page both for the current site owner, which is myself, as well as for the John Doe fake user. So let me go back to my SharePoint Online as soon as the application will be reloaded and available. Here we are. And so I can go here and I can see that I can see the manage web targeted content, and the view page is still as before. But if I go to John Doe profile, I can see that now I have the content for the people targeted with the view pages permission, and I see you can't see this content for all the other people, so including John Doe. This is a really useful and powerful component control that you can use because you can target content in your web parts based on the user permission. Like always, thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it interesting and useful, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you next week. And remember, subscribe to this channel. Thank you.